Yo, what's up guys, Boss here, and I'm back on the YouTube video, and this time we're going to be playing some top ladder with this giant graveyard deck that's really solid in the meta right now. I feel like it's just the last couple of weeks, I don't know why, but a lot of people have been using it, and I gave it a try, and it's actually really solid because it's just consistent and doesn't have too many bad matchups, and just works great in this meta. Buffmac pushed to number 1 with the deck, which was 7,300 at the time. This guy right here is using the deck. He's 13th in the world with it. And then I think there's another guy. Yeah, let me find him. He's 24th in the world. So, I mean, that's 3 people in the top 30. There might even be more that I just don't know of, but then there's a lot in the top 100 using the deck. It's just really good, and it's because of all the wall breakers. I mean, you just have arrows to kill the wall breakers. Also, in this meta, there's so many, like, skeletons and bats, so it's good to have Snowball. So then that way you can pair it with the graveyard and get, like, a lot of damage if they defend with, like, bats or skeletons. And then also, it's just kind of like a bait deck in a way, because you're like baiting your opponent's spells with the Starmie and the bats, and then that's how you get like all your damage with the graveyard. And I would say the only like difficult matchup is probably like P.E.K.K.A, but even that you can beat it if you play it really well. And yeah, I'm currently top 900 right now, 845. I think in the thumb I said I was gonna, I think it's at 7,000 plus. I'm not sure I'll be able to get to 7,000. What happened was I wasn't able to play much the last couple of days, so I'm a bit lower than I expected going into this because it was end of the semester for me, so I had a lot of like studying and like homework to do. But I have the next 4 days off school, which is nice, so I should be able to upload the next few days. I'm gonna go ahead and split bats in the back here. So first thing with this deck is if you have Giant in your starting hand, then you typically don't want to make the first move. But if you don't have Giant, then you should like split bats, split your skeleton army, and then if this guy still doesn't do anything after I split my Skarmy, then I'll just go and play my Musketeer. But it looks like he went for a Furnace, so we'll just snowball it to cycle again, and then I'll probably just go ahead and play my Musketeer same lane as it, to be honest. This could be RG Lightning, we'll have to see though, because I don't know what other deck has the Furnace. I'm gonna go for a Giant here to protect the Musketeer. This is gonna be a little bit annoying for him to stop, I feel like. Okay, so he has the Barbarians variant. I thought maybe he had like Lumberjack, but yeah, he has this variant. So this might be a little bit more difficult because he's gonna have a better answer to the graveyard. Barbs are pretty solid against the graveyard, I would say, but I think we should still be fine because our Skarmy is really good against the RG, same with the mini P.E.K.K.A. And he's just going to go ahead and Furnace again, so I guess in this case I'll just Musketeer. It's not really good value to like Arrow or Furnace, but maybe if he plays something else next to it I could. And he's just going to Baby Dragon. Wow, okay, he went pretty, I mean, I wouldn't really say aggressive, but I felt like he spent a lot of elixir there, and Bar Barrel's really good against the graveyard, so now he doesn't have that in rotation. And yeah, as you guys see, we're just gonna take his tower. I mean, I think he really overcommitted there, like with the Baby Dragon, Bar Barrel, because I mean, that was 6 elixir, and the only thing I had down was, I think, a Musketeer, so that's why that was a bit of an overcommitment. And all we really have to do is defend. I mean, it might not be too easy to do it, but if we play good defense, it shouldn't be too bad. And he's also kind of going really aggressive. So, yeah, he's really playing this really aggressively. I felt like he needed to play a little bit more passive, especially towards the beginning, because RG Lightning is kind of a double elixir deck. Like, you don't typically get a lot of your damage in single, so yeah, we ended up taking advantage of him being super aggressive and getting the win pretty early on. That is going to be GG. I think, like, yeah, Musketeer doesn't, or Baby Dragon doesn't lock on the tower, Snowball to push everything back, and we get a pretty easy first win. But I mean, that's kind of what you have to do. If you notice them being aggressive and like overcommitting, you can just hit them with a Giant Graveyard other lane. They won't have the elixir to defend. And in his case, he didn't even have Barbarians in cycle, so he kind of had no hope defending the graveyard. And even if he played Barbarians, I could have snowballed them, and the Giant would have gotten damage regardless. Even if the graveyard didn't like take his tower, I would have still gotten a lot of damage. But yeah, that's going to put us top 800 now. Let's go ahead and search for the next game. And yeah, it shouldn't take too long to find any games until you get to about the top 500. It doesn't take long. So I guess that's a good thing for you guys, because I am not too high in trophies. The queue time is really, really short. And it's also good for me because I don't have to like edit if it were to be like a minute or something like that. But yeah, we found a game here against Adriano. He's just gonna scar me at the bridge, so this might be a mirror matchup. Like I said, there's a lot of people using this deck, so it could very well be a mirror matchup. And there's already 2 cards of the scar me and the bats. The other thing that this could be is it could also be Sparky, because some people are using basically the same deck but with Sparky, but it looks like he has the Night Witch, so maybe he has Night Witch instead of Mini P.E.K.K.A. I'm not sure though, but as of right now, it looks like a very similar deck. Yeah, so he does have the Giant. I'm gonna go for a Skarmy here on his graveyard. And he just, I actually don't think that those arrows were very good on his end. I'm gonna go for my own graveyard right now. And he's gonna scar me, but I don't think he has enough elixir to defend this once again. Yeah, so so 2 games in a row, both the people were going way too aggressive in single, in my opinion. Like, this deck too, like, RG Lightning is a deck that's used to, like, you get your main damage in double. But same with this deck, you're kind of getting most of your damage in double, so I don't really know why this guy decided to go super aggressive, like, at the beginning. He's also a bit higher than me, so, yeah, I don't know, maybe he, like, maybe he just didn't know what I was running, or maybe he just didn't think I could defend it, but either way, it worked really well for me. So, I'm going for a mini push here, and he was forced to arrow just bats, so that's a bit unfortunate for him. And also, he isn't able to defend the bowler, so now that I realize what his deck is, it's definitely a bit different than ours, since he has the Night Witch and the bowler, but it's kind of a similar aspect since he still has the graveyard, the Giant. But yeah, you can see here, I think he played his Night Witch in front of the Giant too, but actually it looks like it won't matter because oh wow, and he played the graveyard like before the Giant crossed the river, so yeah, he's definitely making a few mistakes. We'll just go for another Musketeer here. All we need to do is play defense for another 25 seconds. He might decide to go other lanes, so we need to watch out about that. Now it looks like he's committed to this lane if he played a Night Witch in it, but actually I'll just play Snowball here, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Bats, and yeah, we should be fine. So, I mean, pretty easy first 2 games. I don't really know what happened, like why both of them were going super aggressive, but like I said, this is the type of deck where you really punish your opponent for doing that, because if they're ever down elixir, or if you have like a huge counter push coming in, like in my situation, you just really take advantage of that and I guess take their tower. So yeah, and yeah, as I said, he was a bit higher than me too, so definitely, like, I mean, good player, because yeah, he was higher than me, but I just think maybe he didn't identify my deck, or just thought like he was going to take my tower off that push. But either way, we're at 6,900, and that means we're probably 4 games away from 7K. I don't know if there's time to do it, but I mean, who knows? Maybe if I just happen to win the next 4 games in a row, maybe I could be able to hit 7K before the end of the video. Okay, we found a game versus Carlos, and he's just going to Tombstone, so I'm just going to Giant opposite lane. I don't really want to arrow it, because arrows don't fully kill the Tombstone, and also, let's say he was running, like, Lava Hound, and then he had, like, minions that would get so much value, so I just want to save arrows. Oh, wow, so... I think I'm just going to go... I think we need to try to tower trade here, because... yeah, it looks like we're going to tower trade, so that's completely fine. In fact, we might end up getting a Mini P.E.K.K.A hit. Yeah, it looks like we do, so as of right now, we are winning this game. So that worked out. I mean, I felt like my cycle was a little... All these games so far have been so weird. This one, too, he went with balloon minions at the bridge, but sometimes you get in weird situations like that. And I felt like it was just the best thing to do there was just to ignore his push, because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to defend it, and I feel like a tower trade situation with this deck is really good, because if you go for like Giant in the Pocket and Graveyard on the king, it's a really solid push, and that's what I really like doing. Let's try to get a mini P.E.K.K.A to the tower. That was unfortunate that the if the mini P.E.K.K.A gets one more hit, we should be... Oh, wow, yeah, we actually are fine. This has just been a crazy game. I felt like all 3 opponents we've versed so far have been really, like, aggressive players. I think if he plays a Lava Hound, I'm going to go for a Giant Graveyard, knowing he doesn't have minions in cycles. So let's do that now. We'll go for a Graveyard and a Giant, and he's just going to go for Barbarians. Hopefully our Graveyard takes his tower. I mean, I don't really think there was any way it wasn't going to, because his tower was already really low. And after going for a Lava Hound, I mean, there's no way he was going to have Elixir. I don't think we'll be able to defend this here, but let's just arrow that anyways, because I feel like he might do too much damage to my king. So he's going to go for minions. Those are his best counter to the graveyard, so we'll definitely try to take advantage of that. But yeah, his Barbarians are able to clean the graveyard up really nicely, which is unfortunate. Let's cycle a Musketeer and see what he wants to do. I think I'm going to mini P.E.K.K.A graveyard, and then let's get arrows down here. Ooh, yeah, guys, I think this is going to be GG, unfortunately. Yeah, good game. Again, another really crazy game. The first 2, both players were really aggressive. This guy pretty aggressive too, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to deal enough damage to his king, and after going in like with the mini P.E.K.K.A graveyard, I didn't have enough elixir to defend. But yeah, I feel like that isn't too bad of a matchup. I just think maybe the beginning just didn't end up working out the best for us. I mean, I guess the tower trade situation was fine, but I think maybe when I went in for that giant mini P.E.K.K.A, that was a bit of a mistake, because when I went for arrows on the tombstone, it didn't end up completely finishing off the tombstone, where I thought what was going to happen is the first 2 arrow waves were going to hit the tombstone, and then the third one would kill all the skeletons, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, and the mini P.E.K.K.A got distracted and wasn't able to finish off the arena tower, because if I finished off that tower, instead of having to go in for a giant graveyard to do it, maybe that giant graveyard could have been used on his king tower, and then we would have dealt so much damage there, and then in the end we would have been able to win. But yeah, it didn't work out for us, but that's fine. We'll just search for the next one and try to win the next couple. We found a game versus Jack Sparrow. We could split Skarmy here to start the game off, and then I think here I'm going to go for a Musketeer once the mortar's locked on the skeleton army. I could Snowball, but to be honest, I want to save it unless he goes for a Miner, and yeah, he doesn't, so it's a good thing I saved the Snowball. There wouldn't have been any reason to use it. I'm actually going to go for a mini P.E.K.K.A Giant, because he's going to have to play a Valk on the mini P.E.K.K.A. Yeah, and then he's going to snowball the bats here, I think. Yeah, but the mini P.E.K.K.A is still alive, and I don't think he's back to goblins yet, so he's going to have to... oh, wait, yeah, he was. Never mind. That's my fault. I wasn't keeping track of cycle there. But yeah, I knew he was kind of in a bad situation after he went in for a Miner, and... because he was kind of low on elixir, and also his cycle was kind of messed up at the time. I have my Musketeer ready if he wants to... let's just Snowball and then hover the Musketeer. Yeah, and then let's go for a Musketeer now. He might... Oh, wow, he went for his own Musketeer. Mortar is going to be able to go, I guess, one shot. I'm going to go for arrows and mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A doesn't even get a shot. That was so close. And the other unfortunate thing is I think he has poison, but I'm gonna go for a giant and a graveyard here. And poison is gonna come down on the graveyard as expected. If the giant can get one more shot, we'd be in a really great situation. Unfortunately, it doesn't, though. I'm just going to mini P.E.K.K.A to make sure that we get something down for the mortar. But unfortunately, I think it's going to, yeah, lock on the tower. He's going to easily be able to defend this, I think, with goblins. And we really need to make sure we get his tower now. Honestly, we should be able to. He's going to have to really overspend on defense here if he... Yeah, that's definitely going to be tower. I think that was smart on his end to not overspend, because then... we need to try to take out this musketeer here. And he goes in for a poison. Pretty aggressive poison, actually, because the musketeer is going to get value before it dies. He's also going to miner. I'm going to play a Skarmy. A little late, but I think it's fine. I'm actually going to go for a giant and a graveyard, and then if he goes in for goblins, I'm just going to arrow them, but he's just going to poison. Obviously, poison, just great answer to the graveyard. We go for a mini P.E.K.K.A and see if he drops a mortar. Looks like he goes in for a defensive one. So... Ooh, he went in for prediction snowball. Well, I'm really happy I didn't decide to go for my Skarmy at that time. That would have been bad. I'm actually going to go ahead and try to go in now. And then let's get arrows down on the goblins. He decided not to poison the graveyard this time, which is a bit interesting because now the graveyard's going to get so much damage. I'm a bit surprised he didn't. I'm going to try to predict the musketeer. Unfortunately, he played the mortar there, so well played on his part. That's going to block. And then I'm going to Skarmy here to try to finish off the mortar. Yeah, that Skarmy got so much value. Let's go for a graveyard and a mini P.E.K.K.A. And I'm going to arrow the goblins. He is going to poison this time, so I don't expect to get too much damage from the graveyard. But look at this, guys. Things are going really, really well. Oh my god, and guys, the giant in the pocket. I wasn't even trying to predict a musketeer. I just wanted to get something down in case he were to go in for a mortar, but that worked out perfectly. I'm going to again go for a mini P.E.K.K.A in case he wants to play something in the middle. Giant in the middle, just to be safe, but you can see it doesn't really matter. No way he's going to be able to break through, and we do manage to get the win. I mean, even decks that have poison, you can still just get some chip with the graveyard. You can also try to bait their poison. Like, for him, it was really tempting for him to poison the musketeer, and you saw him do that one time. And then also there was a time where he didn't poison the graveyard, because what sometimes people like to do is defend the graveyard for a cheaper amount of elixir, so then that way they can be more aggressive. But in that case, it didn't end up working out for him, because after I arrowed the goblins, he had to spend so much elixir with like a snowball, and maybe there was something else, but I just ended up getting a lot of damage. So we're back to where we were before. Let's play one more game, try to get the win here, and then maybe I'll end after this. We found a game here. Give him the good luck, and we do have giant in our starting hand, so we could wait just a few seconds to see if he wants to make the first move. And then if he doesn't, we could just go with... I mean, we could cycle a snowball, I guess, but it also wouldn't be a bad idea to wait, I feel like. Yeah, so that's good. We waited, and now we can get a nice snowball there. Now we'll go ahead and split bats. Is he running log bait? Probably. I don't know what else has the Valken goblins, or spear goblins, or goblin gang, excuse me. Go for a mini P.E.K.K.A here. He might rocket this. Expecting a Goblin Gang here. Ooh, he didn't get it down in time. That's unfortunate for him. Gonna just giant in the back here. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays Princess at the bridge. Oh, it's got the Tesla variant. That's good, because Inferno can be really annoying since you don't ever set to it. But if they're running the Tesla variant, it's so much easier. And in this guy's case, he doesn't have a Goblin Gang in rotation right now. So I'm actually going to go ahead and go in for my Graveyard and see if we can get a little bit of damage. Because, I mean, he had to spend so much Elixir on that Graveyard, and we still end up getting a bit of damage, which is really, really nice. And I don't think he can protect this Princess, because he doesn't have a Goblin Gang in rotation right now, because he just used it for defense on the Graveyard. Oh my god, yeah, look at that. His cycle was so messed up that he had to go in for a defensive Goblin Barrel. So that's really, really unfortunate for him. And now, once again, we can just probably go ahead and play a Giant in the back, knowing that he can't really punish us with the Goblin Barrel at this point. And I'll just go for arrows here, because he isn't going to be able to play a, excuse me, a Goblin Barrel anytime soon. Let's just go for Graveyard, and then I guess we can go for arrows on the Princess. Unfortunately, the Princess died to the Graveyard. I think when I was sneezing, that wasn't paying attention there for a second, but I think we're okay. Oh, yeah, look at that, guys. I went for Musketeer there because I had a feeling he was going to Princess at the bridge. So that was a really nice prediction. He also was going super aggressive right there with the Valk. I'm just going to go for a split Skarmy. And then hopefully those arrows can kill everything. No damage taken. That was really solid. I'm going to go for a Graveyard. Let's get Bats down. And then I'm even going to Snowball. Just predicting if he plays something. But yeah, nothing comes down. There wasn't really any way he was going to be able to defend the Graveyard, because he went, I felt like, pretty aggressive with the Barrel Goblin Gang on offense. And honestly, Logbait isn't too bad of a matchup. Even if they have an Inferno, all you really have to do is, I mean, you just have to always remember arrows for the Goblin Barrel. And then what you can do is, if they play sometimes a Princess, you could go for, if you haven't fully committed in one lane yet, what you could do is you could go for a Giant at the bridge Graveyard, so that the Graveyard ends up killing the Princess. That's like kind of a cool thing you can do. But if you already have so much damage in one lane and they Princess in the opposite lane, then obviously there's no point in doing that. But yeah, we're going to end at about top 600 right now, so not a bad push. I mean, maybe I could play one more since it's only been 23 minutes. Or I could show you guys a replay against P.E.K.K.A, because I managed to beat a P.E.K.K.A player. I don't think he played perfectly, but I still think it would be a good replay to show you guys, just so you know it's possible to beat P.E.K.K.A. So basically at the start of the game, as I said, you're just cycling your cycle cards, and then I even go for a Musketeer in the back. And here was his mistake, I think. When he went for a poison on that Musketeer, I was just able to go for a Giant, and I think, did I play a mini P.E.K.K.A behind it, or did I? Yeah, I went for mini P.E.K.K.A. And then also, the unfortunate thing for him is he didn't even have a P.E.K.K.A in rotation. But look at this. What I do is I just let the Battle Ram connect, take a little bit of damage, and then I know he has to respond to that mini P.E.K.K.A. I also know I'm up Elixir, so I go ahead and play a Graveyard, and I think he kind of doesn't really know what to do here, so he just goes in with an Ewiz on it. And yeah, I just play like my Skarmy, and then just like that, I have a solid lead. I think a lot of it really comes down to cycle, because in this matchup, there's a card you can't really use ever in the matchup, and that's arrows. But sometimes you need to use it to cycle. Like if you maybe they play like a Magic Archer and an Ewiz next to each other, you could arrow both of them, but otherwise you're not using it. So that's why you really need to, in this matchup, be very cautious of like your cycle. I'll put it at 2x speed, but if they ever poison a Musketeer, you can go for Giant Graveyard at the bridge, because even though they'll play a P.E.K.K.A on your Giant probably, and then your Giant won't get any damage, your Graveyard's going to get a ton, and they won't have Elixir to defend the Giant and the Graveyard combined with only having 3 Elixir. I mean, probably the best thing they could do is play like an Ewiz on the Graveyard, but even then you could like snowball the Ewiz, get so much damage, and defend with like Bat Skarmy. So just speeding it up a little bit here to show you like kind of the beginning was kind of like what ended up winning me the game, but it definitely is possible to beat it. Like, I think it is the hardest matchup, but it's definitely winnable, as you just saw. So yeah, that'll do it for the video. Make sure to like it if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and let me know what deck you want me to use next. I might just focus on using my best decks for the rest of the season, because the season is ending in about, well, 8 days. This deck is really, really solid. There's someone in the top 20 running it, and Giant Miner is kind of like my favorite archetype to run, so I might use this deck in the next video, because I think it's really solid. Even though the Night Witch got a nerf, I still think it's pretty good, and pairs well with Giant and Golem still. Probably not Elixir Golem, because Elixir Golem got a nerf, so it's just the combination isn't as strong anymore, but I think Giant Golem still works well in. But thanks again, until next time, guys.